Jimmy, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Were your ears burning?
Yes, they were.
All right. Well, to be fair, I gave you a heads up that we were going to do this.
Now, Sam, if you're gonna do this kind of blindsiding with me without any warning whatsoever or heads up or even give me a chance to rebut you, that is so dishonest.
Well, Jimmy's funny. I did send him an email and tell him to do this, but it was, to be fair, it was also last night that I did that. So
maybe send me an email maybe the night before to let me know you're going to do this.
Well, I appreciate you're having a sense of humor about it. But talk to me about it, because I still have more of your tape, and we can go over that tape.
Sam, I like you. I like your show. I would come on your show whenever you want me to come on. So all you do is a little email or a text or something. Let me know you're going to be ripping me a new asshole, and I'll show up.
Well, I'm trying to overlay it on your existing one, if it makes you feel better.
Hey, you know what? Actually, I'm getting a little bit of the delay or something. It's coming back in my ear feed.
It's the libertarian thing. I think it's Peter Thiel.
Can I try? It's a little distracting, so can I call back in?
Let me call you back on a different line. I'll call you right back.
Call me, okay?
All
right, thank you.
All right. Well, we'll call Jimmy back. I did, in fact, I should say, before people start freaking out. I did invite Jimmy on last night, and he said he couldn't make it. Apparently, he can. He was just driving around. That's all he was doing.
Hello, Jimmy Dore, irresponsible journalist. How are you?
Are you on the 405 right now?
I'm on the 10. I'm texting and I'm watching a TV show at the same time while I'm driving. That's how reckless I am.
I was going to say, irresponsible driver as well. All right, Jimmy. So
yeah.
I mean, what's your response? I haven't gotten to the other parts yet, but
no, I think. But first of all, Sam, just because you've been right up to this point doesn't mean I'm still not pissed off at you.
Well, I mean, but we had this debate, and to watch this, I find, it really is upsetting to me, because
now let me just say, your point about the Supreme Court. My position on the Supreme Court is that right now, like you said, he's not your first choice. I'm with you on that. I'll just say this right now: the Republicans aren't even giving a guy who they called a perfect choice. Right? They loved him. Right? Orrin Hatch said he'd be the best choice, and then they won't even give him a hearing or a meeting without batting an eye for a year. This is the argument we had before. So why wouldn't the Democrats, let's say if Donald Trump nominates a maniac, why wouldn't they say, no, why don't you nominate Merrick Garland?
Well, Jimmy, this was the next thing I was going to get to. I understand. You're saying, why can't the Democrats do this?
Right.
You said on the tape here that the Republicans are filibustering. They're not filibustering.
No, they're not filibustering. That was you correct. You correct.
The Democrats,
they're not.
The Democrats, there is no one who has ever even speculated that it's possible for Donald Trump to win the presidency and for the Democrats to take back the Senate. Those two things cannot happen. And so the Democrats don't have the ability to not provide a hearing for Donald Trump's nominee. There's no way the Republicans are going to go 4 years without a hearing on. They can maybe get away with this with Obama, and they can play out the clock for 6 or 7 months because there's a huge presidential election going on, so the media has been distracted somewhat. But I can tell you that in January, there's only going to be one story. Maybe there'll be two. One will be how, if Hillary Clinton's the president, one will be how the Republicans are threatening to shut down the government again. And the other one will be they're refusing to hold hearings for her nominee, and that will just go on and on because there's not going to be anything else that's going on. It's going to be a fundamentally different media era. So I don't think they're going to be able to hold out for 4 years, and Democrats certainly wouldn't be able to hold out for 4 years because they don't believe in the destruction of the Senate as an institution in the way that Republicans do. And frankly, I'm glad about that.
Okay, so you don't. So here's my theory. I'll just give you my theory: is that if the Republicans can do this to a guy like Merrick Garland, that they've already said is a great justice, for a whole year without batting an eye and paying no political price for it, I say the Democrats will be able to filibuster someone that Donald Trump nominated, and then in 2 years, the Senate, in my opinion, it would flip to Republican just because of. I agree with Chris Hayes when he says that if Donald Trump becomes president, it's the destruction of the Republican Party, and Paul Ryan is not going to usher any of his crazy policies through Congress. So they fracture, and the Senate flips to Democrat. They were saying it was almost going to happen this year. But,
yeah, but you know the difference between, I mean, Jimmy, surely you know the difference between how many Senate Republicans are running for re-election this year versus 2 years from now, right? You know the difference, right? We have 2/3 of the race is our Senate's Republicans up for a race, and in 2 years we have 2 times the number of Democrats who are up for re-election. So the idea of the Democrats taking back the Senate in 2018 is an extreme long shot. The idea that Paul Ryan may not pursue any of Donald Trump's crazy legislation, but he will pursue Paul Ryan's crazy legislation, and Donald Trump will surely sign it. Why wouldn't he?
Okay, so
you're going to let Paul Ryan? Would you want Paul Ryan to be president? This guy wants to privatize Medicare. He wants to privatize Social Security. He wants to cut any type of social safety net. He wants to get rid of the estate taxes.
Yeah.
I mean, why is his agenda any better than Donald Trump's? Even if you believe Donald Trump is not even going to do anything except for sign legislation, that's bad enough.
Yeah, Sam, we're on the same side most things. I'll just disagree with
Jimmy,
you.
no, wait a second. No, we're not. Because
politically, except for Hillary Clinton and the Supreme Court, we disagree 100% on that. And I think that if Donald Trump is president, it's way worse for the Republicans. And if Hillary Clinton is, I agree with Chris Hayes when he says Hillary Clinton is good for the Republican Party and Donald Trump is bad for it. I agree with him.
I agree with that too. But in the meantime, we have a Supreme Court that is going to be moved to the right for generations. In the meantime,
I disagree with you on that. I mean, you haven't given me an argument that rebuts what I said. That the Democrats could easily filibuster any bad appointee, and they could say, "Hey, until you give us someone as good as Merrick Garland, we're going to keep filibustering this." And all we have to do is do it for 2 years. And my proof that they could do it is that the Republicans are doing it to a guy like Merrick Garland, who they already said they like, without batting an eye for a year. So I just disagree with you on this, Sam, on the Supreme Court. I just disagree.
And what about when Justice Breyer or Justice Ginsburg pass away or retire?
Yeah, I mean,
so they're going to filibuster. They're going to prevent 2 vacancies from being filled, and then you think based on that in the context of American society as you know it, without a presidential election going on, that the Democrats are going to retake the Senate, even though they have twice as many people up for re-election?
I mean, Sam, did you think that Hillary Clinton was the stronger candidate than Bernie Sanders against the Republicans?
No.
You didn't? You always thought Bernie Sanders was a stronger candidate than Hillary Clinton against the Republicans?
Yeah. I mean, particularly against Donald Trump.
Oh, I thought I had you on that one. God damn it. So I was trying to impugn your forecasting ability. I'm saying I don't agree with that forecast. You know, you're saying, what if there's 2 justices? What if there's 3 justices? I'm saying as it stands right now, the Republicans aren't even giving a hearing to a guy they say is great for a year. Why can't the Democrats do the same thing, Sam? Why can't they filibuster a bad justice?
Well, I don't know. Why can't I fly? Because I don't have wings. I mean, the fact is, Jimmy, is that you are taking. I mean, the what you're talking about. there's no, you're just positing things to happen. That is like, it's like dropping a marble down a pachinko ladder and just saying like, well, if it hits here and it hits there and it hits there, it's going to land here. But the fact is, none of those things can logically follow each other.
I 100% disagree with you.
Well, I know that.
What do you say about the point that Chris Hayes made and Ben Howe made from Red State? They're both in agreement that Ben Howe is telling people, his conservative friends, to vote for Hillary if they care about the safety or the life of the Republican Party and the conservative movement. Because if Donald Trump is president, it wrecks it, and they won't be able to get a governing majority, he said, for maybe decades. So you can vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm going to vote for the destruction of the Republican Party, as according to Chris Hayes and Ben Howe.
Well, I think Chris Hayes would tell you to vote for Hillary Clinton. And Ben
I know,
Howe,
but he's going against his own logic.
I don't think he is. I suspect that maybe you're just misinterpreting what he's saying. Do I think that Donald Trump is bad for the conservative party? I mean, the conservative movement? Yes. I think he's bad for the conservative movement, whether he wins or loses. Is it bad for the Republican Party if he wins? I'll tell you what happens if he wins. What he wins is like people like Ben Howe lose. They lose their job. But there are other people who win. And those people will continue on, and they will just continue. It's not like the Republican Party is going to say, oh, what's become of us? I mean, look at the way they're reacting now.
Yes, I agree. So in my idea, just let me clarify that idea of people coalescing. I mean that if Hillary Clinton is president, like right now, Barack Obama's president, he's pushing the TPP, which you pointed out, a lot of Democrats are against, right?
Right.
Yet there's a chance he still might get it through, which is why he's pushing for it, because he knows there's a chance.
Well,
so
he wants it to go through. That's why he's pushing it. He knows that it's in trouble. That's why he's having to work so hard. And frankly, I think that I think there's plenty of evidence that it's not going to happen, at the very least on his watch.
Yeah, that's good news, right? So,
yes,
So my point is he helped split the opposition. Like the Democrats are like, wait a minute, my Democrat president's for this. This is some horrible right-wing policy, though. That's what I've been told, but he's for. So it split. If it was a Republican proposing this, all the Democrats would coalesce, all the independents.
If it was a Republican proposing this, it would have passed already because they control both houses of Congress, and it would have passed.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. My theory.
Do you refute that?
Do I refute that it would have already
If the
passed
president,
if
it was George Bush or Donald Trump right now, and you had a Republican Senate and a Republican House, that the TPP wouldn't pass? The reason why the TPP is not going to come up for a vote in the lame duck session is because it's Obama trade.
Right. So you're saying the Republicans don't want to be seen going along with anything Barack Obama does.
Right.
So you're saying that a Democrat pushing the TPP is not as bad as a Republican pushing the TPP, so we should vote Democrat.
Well, I don't think Hillary Clinton's going to push the TPP.
Honestly?
Yeah. I think it's too toxic for her at this point. I think there's too many people in the Democratic Party who are going to do it. And frankly, if you have a Republican-controlled Senate and House, yes, it's better for a Democrat to push the TPP because they're not going to give Hillary trade either. They're going to follow the exact same strategy they followed with Obama, which is obstruct. So in the same dynamic that prevented Barack Obama from cutting Social Security benefits because the Republican Party wouldn't go along with him, and then ultimately the Democratic Party got strengthened and they completely changed their position on it by 180 degrees. That is what I expect that dynamic to continue.
Yes, I remember when George Bush also proposed privatizing Social Security, and it was dead on arrival because...
Well, privatizing Social Security is far more extreme than simply cutting benefits.
Right.
but I'm in
so
favor of
you-
expanding benefits, and the Democratic Party is now, that's the official position of the Democratic Party and all of the Democrats in the Senate.
Right. Did you know since Bernie endorsed her, Hillary stopped talking about climate change in her speeches? You know, she's exporting fracking around the world. She says the Republicans don't accept the science of climate change. She says she does. And we all know the science says that fracking is way worse for climate change than anyone believes. And yet here she is exporting it. So that's the kind of thing, the doublespeak, that people can't give their vote to. I can't give my vote to that, Sam.
So you're going to enable the guy who thinks that climate change is a hoax because you think that's going to get us further down the line.
No. I say it's time for a revolution, and we have to throw off the neoliberal agenda, which is pro-fracking, which is anti-climate change and anti-science. And you know, we are going to have to. Right now.
Do you think Donald Trump would have okayed the Keystone Pipeline?
Yes.
Me too. Do you think Donald Trump will do that when he gets into office?
Yes. I think he'll do all the bad things you can think of. I think that.
Why would you not why would you not want to put someone in who's in position who is going to be relying on your votes to get reelected, who's going to have to address Bernie Sanders as a powerful senator in her own party? Why would you not want that person who is closer to, even if you think that she's a horrible human being who is going to continue to wreck the planet, and you and I maybe we agree on that. Why would you not want that person in charge because they are more accountable to Bernie Sanders and Bill McKibben and to the Democrats in the House who are against these things than Donald Trump, who could give F all about those people and, in fact, benefits politically from telling them to go F off?
Right. And my reason is because I'm playing a longer game. I see we have struck Trump.
How much time do you think we have?
2 years.
2 years?
2 years. And then 2 years we flip. And by the way, and people are forgetting, that they're going to be redoing the gerrymandering based on the census that's coming up, right?
Why do you think the Democrats are going to control the state houses?
No, they're not. That's what I'm saying. That what's happened is that when Barack Obama was president, that people vote against him. On midterm elections, it goes against the incumbency. So that's what people
more often than not, but not in 2002.
Okay. So my point being that I don't think a Democratic presidency helps fix any of the problems we really need to fix. In fact, it makes a lot of them worse. And the Democrats got in bed with
So let me ask you this. If Bernie Sanders was the nominee, Jimmy, would you continue to espouse this? Because, of course, this would mean the end of the Republican Party as we know it and the conservative movement. So would you also not vote if Bernie Sanders was the nominee?
No, because Bernie Sanders isn't a neoliberal. I'm saying that people don't realize what they're getting with Hillary is not the opposite.
But your
of Donald Trump.
your theory of Donald Trump is that the reason why you would enable his presidency is because it's going to destroy the conservative movement. I mean, so it's short term. I mean, why wouldn't you espouse this if it's only going to be 2 years? And we can weather the storm, and the Democrats could. Why would you support Bernie Sanders?
Well, it's a risk assessment, right? So right now, if my choices are Donald Trump or neoliberal, warmongering Hillary Clinton in bed with Wall Street frackers and the big pharma, I'm going to say the risk. I'll take that risk of Donald Trump destroying the Republican Party. But if I get a real progressive and that the country is behind and he can raise awareness and consciousness about what it means to be a real socialist, that we're the richest country the face of the earth has ever seen, and we can afford universal health care, and we can afford a college for everybody, and we can regulate Wall Street and have a good economy, I'll take that bet. That's my risk assessment there. But if my my choices are Hillary and Donald, that's a different risk.
And so you have basically said that the Supreme Court is irrelevant in this assessment too, right?
No,
because let me just get this clear. Because the Democrats are going to filibuster for 2 years, then the Democrats are going to take over the Senate, and then they're going to continue to filibuster for another 2 years. And because of the collapse of the Republican Party, we're going to get a Democrat that you can support, who might that be? Do you have an idea 4 years out who the Democrat you're going to support for president is? Or is it going to be Jill Stein?
I like Elizabeth Warren.
Okay, so you think Elizabeth Warren is going to run 4 years and she's going to get elected and then everything's going to be fine? That's the plan?
I mean, Sam, my plan is to filibuster any bad nominees that Donald Trump nominates, and we come to a compromise. Hey,
so
Merrick
you
Garland's
think the
our
Democrats
compromise.
can maintain a filibuster over the course of those 4 years if there's 2 vacancies or 3 vacancies?
You think that Donald Trump can keep nominating maniacs to the Supreme Court who isn't a compromised judge? Why can't we force him to nominate a compromised judge? Why wouldn't we put the pressure on him? By the way, you act like
I would
there
just
won't be
say
scandals.
Thomas,
There will be constant
Alito,
scandals,
Roberts.
constant scandals surrounding Donald Trump. He will be the most ineffective president. This whole idea that somehow he will be equal standing when he nominates someone to the Supreme Court is ridiculous. They're gonna rip him a new one every time he does something. He will be over scrutinized. Hillary won't be as scrutinized as
You're
him,
going to
and that's
have
why
a
I'm afraid of
Democratic
her.
Senate and Congress for 2 years. They're going to be able to pass every single piece of legislation they want.
You're saying
Republican.
in 2 years, well,
You're going to have a
saying
Republican
that-
House, a Republican Senate, a Republican
for 2
president
years.
for 2 years.
For 2 years. Yeah, I know this is my risk assessment. My risk assessment is that when Donald Trump proposes crazy stuff, we can coalesce, we can block him. Also, that the Democrats can filibuster horrible stuff in the Senate. I'm saying fight, don't give in.
Okay. Well, I mean, you've made your case.
It doesn't sound. I mean, Sam, I understand we disagree, and I could be wrong. I'm saying this is my risk.
No, Jimmy, you're wrong.
I don't think it's because I don't understand.
It is.
Because I don't
It is.
understand what's
It is.
going on.
It is. Because because the idea that Peter Thiel and Merrick Garland would rule the same and there would be no demonstrable difference is absurd. It's absurd, Jimmy. I'm sorry. It's absurd.
No.
It's
That's
absurd.
not my idea. That's not. I don't know. I agree. I don't even know who Peter Thiel is that much. So I that's not my idea. That was what. I'm not trying to throw my friend Steve under the bus, but that's not my main point, and I'll concede that point. That Peter Thiel. I don't even know who he is really. So
The idea that the
I
Democrats, the idea that the Democrats are going to take back the Senate and are going to be able to filibuster for 2 years, and assuming that no other vacancy opens up, also ignores all of the political history of this country. I've never heard of a 2-year failure to fill a Supreme Court seat, and certainly not during a time where there's no other news, and not during a time where the Republicans are going to control both houses. I'm sorry, it's absurd.
You know what else?
It's absurd.
You know what I never
it's a screenplay.
You know what else I never heard of? Is that war crimes being ordered at the top of government and nobody prosecuting them. I never heard of that.
You've never heard of that? Because that has been basically the history of this country.
I never heard of our government suspending habeas corpus, which is in the Magna Carta. They did that. I couldn't believe what they did.
Under a Republican president with Republican justices.
I can't believe we have a surveillance state right now. I can't believe you want me to vote for a candidate who was full-throated supporting going in and destabilizing the Middle East.
No, Jimmy, wait, Jimmy, I don't want you to vote for anybody. I don't want you to, listen, no, Jimmy, you're missing my point. I don't want you to vote. I don't care who you vote for. You live in California. What I want you to do is to stop offering theories about politics on your platform that are bogus, that are not
I think I just proved to you they're not bogus, Sam. You haven't proved that they're bogus at all, except that you said it. I think I just kind of showed you how you're wrong about all this stuff, and you're voting out of fear again. Out of fear. Oh, because there might be 2 Supreme Court judges. What if there's 3? What if the moon falls into Lake Michigan? What are we going to do then?
Now, Jimmy, let's talk about risk assessment.
Do
you think there's a difference in the probability that 2 80-year-olds with multiple cases of cancer are going to serve out their term versus the moon falling into Lake Michigan?
I just disagree with your forecasting, Sam. I don't agree with it. I think it's a bigger risk.
Do you want to look at
Clinton.
actuarial tables for the life expectancy of an 80-year-old man who's had multiple cancers?
Sam, I can right now get you a great deal on term life insurance, and you know that's the best insurance there is.
I have term.
See? You know it. Sam, this is about me being better looking, isn't it?
I mean, listen, it's not funny to me, and that's the problem. Is that it is not funny to me. I think it's really dangerous.
What is dangerous? That people vote their conscience?
No, I think what's dangerous is honestly using your platform and espousing fantastical notions that I think that could be really detrimental to the lives of literally millions of people.
Did you say this about MSNBC when they were pushing the Hillary Clinton candidacy?
Yeah.
Did you say that they were irresponsible?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I disagreed with them.
Yeah, but you didn't say they were just irresponsible and reckless and all that stuff to use their platform to tell people to vote for Hillary Clinton?
I don't watch it that often. The only show I watch is Hayes, and I don't think he was doing that.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that if somehow if somebody disagrees with you to the left, they're irresponsible.
You're not disagreeing with me to the left. You're not disagreeing with me. We're not disagreeing on ideology. We're disagreeing on the way politics works. We're disagreeing on tactics.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the people who disagree with me gave us frickin' Hillary Clinton. Geniuses. Fucking geniuses, Sam. So anybody who's supporting someone who gave full-throated support to the Iraq War, I don't need your advice on how to vote.
Well, I'm not advising you on how to vote, Jimmy.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to anybody.
Well, I mean, but you can make this about, about your own personal affront that you feel and insults that you feel. But that's not what it's about.
It is insulting that anybody who is for somebody other than the main two parties is try to dismiss them or you try to marginalize them. Not you, but you also, yes, but the mainstream establishment press also does that. They've been, they're still calling Jill Stein. She's in bed with Putin now, and she's anti-vax. All this stuff. The same thing I did to Bernie. Bernie was a sexist. Bernie was a misogynist. It's just ridiculous, right? So you get to vote for a third party. That's what democracy is all about, Sam. You get to have a choice. And this idea that you can't vote for a third party until a lot of people are already voting for it is an F argument, okay? And there's a reason why we don't have justice. People
can vote. People can vote. Nobody, listen, you're making the same argument that that right-wingers make. Like, you're trying to censor my speech. You can vote any way you want.
Yeah, Sam, again, this is all about some type of
personal affront, and I don't care. I don't care about anybody's feelings in this. I don't care if people feel marginalized.
Right.
I don't care. It's not what this is about.
Well, I know it's about that you feel like somebody who has a different political opinion. Everybody who's in the Green Party is reckless to you.
No, that's not the case.
Just me.
No, I don't think that you're reckless because of your support of the Green Party. I think you're reckless because of the way that you're articulating tactics and the idea that you're dismissive of the Supreme Court, and you're basically not providing any context for the plan that you have that this is going to long-term work out well for people. I mean, just in the past 5 months, we've seen the importance of having even a split Supreme Court in terms of enfranchising hundreds of thousands of voters, in terms of maintaining the existence of public sector unions. I mean,
I agree. Sam, I agree with you on this. It's very important. The Supreme Court is so that's a straw man. I don't think it's not important. I think it is very important. And I laid out my strategy for how the Democrats could fight. Now, you laid out a strategy for how the Democrats could roll over. And that's just the difference between me and you. And I think yours is complacent. It's establishment.
How do you know on day one? How do you know on day one,
It's
Mitch
fear.
McConnell? Wait a second. How do you know on day one, Mitch McConnell won't change the rules to get rid of the filibuster for Supreme Court justices?
Hey, how do you know on the first day Hillary won't bomb Syria with a nuclear weapon?
Well, all right.
How do you know?
I also don't know that the moon won't fall into Lake Michigan.
Right.
But you know what? I mean, honestly, Jimmy, to make those analogies, I think is indicative, and people can judge for themselves. People can judge for themselves. If people think that it is so far-fetched that Mitch McConnell will take the next step and get rid of filibusters or change the threshold for filibusters for Supreme Court nominees so that Donald Trump can get his nominee through, is the same as Hillary Clinton sending a nuclear weapon to Syria. If people genuinely think the chances of those are the same, they can assess that.
So every crazy, fearful scenario you can concoct in your fear-riddled brain is accurate and makes sense, right? That to you. Every crazy...
No.
Every time I say something, you move the goalposts once again. What if Mitch McConnell does this? What if there's 2 Supreme Court justices?
The point is the risk assessment that you're making doesn't actually include any awareness of how politics work, Jimmy.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it does, Sam. And I just gave you my position, and you can't really refute it except you come up with some new fear scenario. So the scenario is the Democrats can filibuster. Right now, the Republicans aren't even giving the guy a hearing. So the fact is that can happen, but you want to roll over. It's spineless Democrats.
The Republicans are not filibustering now. They're just not bringing up a nomination. They're not filibustering.
Without batting an eye. Without batting an eye, they won't fill that seat. And I'm saying the Democrats could do the same thing. And you're saying they won't.
Look at the polling of the Democratic Party. Look at the polling of the Democratic Party. The Democratic voters don't want their senators to do that. Republican voters do. Do you think that means nothing?
Oh, say it again.
If you look at polling as to actions of Democratic senators versus Republican senators, Republicans don't want compromise. Republican voters. Democratic voters do. Now, you and I may not agree with that, may not want Democratic voters to compromise, but that's what they do. Politicians react to what voters want.
We all know they don't.
They do in this instance.
We know
they
that.
do. We do know they do that, right? We do know that because we've never seen, Democratic politicians come out and say, "I won't compromise my principles. I won't compromise."
Writing this down. I'm going to write this down. Sam Seder says that Congress responds to the will of voters. This is a new one.
Well, all right.
That's a new one because we know it's been proven scientifically, Sam, that that's not true. That's why we already live in an oligarchy, Sam. We already know that. You don't know that? Haven't you read those articles?
No, I've interviewed all those people, Jimmy. Look, let me tell you something.
I'm sorry, what?
I've interviewed all those people who wrote those articles.
Oh, so you know this.
Yeah, I do know this. Now, Jimmy, look.
Are you ignoring it?
People can assess whether or not your plan, I'll let you lay it out one more time without any interruption. How's this going to work? Donald Trump gets elected, and then tell me who controls the Senate and the House, and then what happens going forward.
So, but I just want to make sure you're standing by that Congress is influenced by voters.
I know that Democratic politicians project that they will compromise and Republicans don't, and because their voters want those things.
Okay.
And there's no big money. There's no big money interests that are on the other side of that. And so that Martin Gillard's research that you're talking about shows that the only time that money trumps is when it's contested. And money doesn't give a shit about whether or not Republicans put on a face that they're not going to compromise and obstruct. And money doesn't give a shit whether or not Democratic politicians compromise. They don't care about that. They care about their issues. So go back, read that Gillen stuff, and understand it better. But give your plan.
So you're
people
saying
can assess it.
That I'm misinterpreting that Congress actually
No,
is
you read the
responsive to
top
voters.
line. But give your plan.
I'm saying,
give your plan so that people can assess it, and we'll let them decide.
Okay. So we didn't settle that issue. We'll move on to the next one. My plan is that if you're an environmentalist, if you want to re-regulate Wall Street, if you're for less war, if you're for fighting climate change, if you're against fracking, if you're in that movement, that the Democratic Party offers you a graveyard, that you're going to have to fight those same people. So I agree with Chris Hayes and Ben Howe from RedState.com that if Donald Trump is president, he fractures the Republican Party, Paul Ryan is not going to usher through his agenda. He's such an incompetent. There will be on nothing but scandal, 100%. He will be ineffectual. He won't be able to get anything done. And in 2 years, we flipped the Congress, we flipped the Senate to Democrat. We could do it right now if Hillary was a little smarter. Number two, and then in 4 years, we get a real Democrat instead of a fake liberal who's going to push Republican policies. And as far as the Supreme Court goes, right now, I've already laid it out a million times. Right now, I say the Democrats can do what the Republicans are doing. I know they're not filibustering, but what they're doing is they're not filling the seat on purpose. And you think that the public opinion will have make them compromise. Anyway, I'm saying that we can do what the Republicans are doing. You're advocating for more spineless liberalism and roll over and take it. I'm saying let's fight the power now, because we're going to have to fight the power no matter what. We're going to have to fight Hillary to get rid of more wars. We're going to have to fight Hillary to get rid of fracking. We're going to have to fight Hillary to re-regulate Wall Street. So that's my position. I appreciate you letting me make it, and I understand that you think I'm uninformed. And I don't think that of you. I think you're very informed. I think we just disagree. And I was kidding. I think you're more handsome than me.
Well, I think we look very similar, frankly. And I know we buy all our clothes and get our glasses at the same place. I mean, I think it's people would have trouble picking us out of a lineup. I mean, yeah. I think. There it is. I mean, people can assess whether or not the chances of the Democrats taking back the Senate in 2 years, whether or not Democrats. It would be nice if they did a unprecedented filibuster for 2 years, and that there's no danger of other Supreme Court justices passing away, and that at a time where there will be no major election of a reality show star to attract people's attention away from they're preventing a ninth justice from sitting on the court, and perhaps an eighth justice from sitting on the court. All that would be wonderful if that were the case. And it would be great if a Republican Senate and House and President passed no legislation and didn't in any way harm climate change, didn't reverse the Paris Accords, as small as a step in the right direction as they may be, or undo things like, I don't know, FDA regulations, EPA regulations, education regulations. That would be great if all that happens. And for your sake, I hope you're right, that all those things do happen.
And I hope you're right I hope I'm right too. I'm not saying, I'm saying I'm taking a calculated risk. And when the choices are Hillary and Donald Trump, and I'm not telling anybody to vote for Donald Trump, by the way. I'm saying if you want to hold your nose and vote for Hillary, that's okay too. I'm just letting people know that there's another work out. That's what I'm saying. And that all the pundits who thought they knew everything about everything are the ones who led us to this position right now. All the pundits who've been screwing over working people for 30 years.
I'm a pundit who thinks he knows everything about everything, and I don't feel like I'm responsible for where we are right now.
No, I've been telling people it's mostly Sam Seder.
Well, as long as they spell my name right, then that'll work out. Well, Jimmy, I appreciate your calling in, and
hey, I appreciate you treating me fairly, and it's okay if you call me names, so I know you like me.
I didn't call you any names.
I say it's okay if you do in the future.
All right, okay. Jimmy. Thanks for calling in.
All right.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye, Michael.
Bye. I'm like like a kid, like conflicting family system here.
Hey folks, Sam Seder here. I just got back from a company-wide meeting. Accounting is really coming down on me hard. We need to get to 100,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So please enjoy this channel. Subscribe right down there.